Hopefulness 2.0, June 22nd. Cake. The floor is made out of floor. But that's cake. It's not floor. Sounds like somebody's trying to play taps and reveille at the same time. I don't know why. Oh man, I'm tired. I'm working today, and then I'm working again tomorrow. And then I'm working on Saturday, then Sunday. So this week I'll have Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So yeah, this is the second attempt at this cake. It's better than the last one because the last one I put too much baking powder in it. I need to cook up some chicken thighs. I also need to wash some stuff. I've been trying to like incorporate more and more clean as you go when it comes to kitchen related stuff. I know I'm not going to be able to like jump on it immediately and just be perfect or anything, as much as I'd like to. I'm just going to take my time, build the habit. And, you know, mostly just trying to ensure that I'm not going to be, you know, destitute. I was looking at, you know, spots on Craigslist, and they're even more expensive now, of course, and it's ridiculous. This whole situation. But at least right now I've got a place to stay, place to cook. And, you know, cooking for all intents and purposes is relatively cheap. I haven't done the food stamp stuff yet. I should, but I find it hard sometimes just to get out of the damn bed. You know, like I went to bed around 9:30 this morning, and then woke up about 2:30, and it's just after 5. I hadn't really got out of bed just because I was tired. And it's like, when you don't sleep 5 hours, it kind of sucks. I mean, I can function off of 5. I'd rather not. Because then, you know, like, there's a likelihood I make some kind of mistake or whatever. Now, last night we had 20 people in the house. We're supposed to have, like, I think 2 more come in today. Can't remember, or at least the next couple of days. But we'll also have like 4 people who are supposed to be leaving relatively soon too. So I don't know. We'll see about that. But it's just, it's nuts how many people are in the house. And I mean, still, I get most of the stuff done in the first hour 15 minutes. So it's not terrible. But at the same time, you know, it's like, kind of sucks when I can't, you know, get to know anybody and talk to them and whatnot. Because it also helps me, understand. It's like one of the guys that's up there, he's a teacher. And, we're talking about like teachers' unions and pay and stuff like that. And he's tenured. And it's like, he's talking about, you just have to work harder. And I'm like, I didn't really think about it at the time, but I'm like, you're a teacher. You should know better than that. That just working, and he's not talking about like to the students, it's talking about like to other people within the union about various issues with being a teacher. And it's like, he's making good money, he's tenured and everything. And so it's like, he's talking from a privileged position. It's like, if that was the case, if that's what really worked, then I could ask, why are you here? Why are you at rehab? Why were you working on, why is it that you were getting loaded on whatever it was you're getting loaded on? And on top of it, as a teacher, that's not how that works. It's not like if you were to tell kids work harder, that doesn't work. You figure out what they can do. You figure out what a person can do. You challenge them in a way so that they get better. But working harder to earn more money so that you don't have to fucking pay for everything, so that you don't have to be the first and last line of defense for kids in general, whether it be literally or figuratively. It's like, there's a bit of a disconnect there. And I'm gonna eat the rest of this cake. Fuck it. This is my breakfast. And I eat this. I get 2 servings of it, which is just over 500 calories, about 560, but still. Nuts, granola, etc. There's quite a bit of added sugar, I think, 14 grams. So there's a lot of added sugar in there, unfortunately, but it's whatever. But it helps for the midday or for the evening shifts and everything. At least for a bit, and then I kind of have like a crash a couple hours after that. No, it bugs me that so many of the problems that we have in our society are so systemic that that's just how they are. That's how people approach it. That's how people think about it. That's how we process it. It's like working hard doesn't always get you anything. And some would say, well, you shouldn't be able to always get stuff. It's like, why is it that we can spend 40 hours of our week, full-time of course, when you're part-time, it often seems like it's more. Why is it that when somebody spends 40 hours of their week, they're not allowed all of the necessities of life? Why is it they have to go get food stamps, or they have to go to food banks, or, they have to... It's so dumb that we have so many workers, and this is why it's good that there are more strikes that are happening. And, this is one of the things that he was kind of complaining about. It's like how every couple of years, teachers are always going on strike. And I'm like, yeah, they're not tenured. They don't have the same protections that you do. And that always seems to, it's so weird. People who are in those positions, you know, be it protected or they have the money or whatever, they're like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Why are you bitching? It's because you don't understand. And, or because you're not dealing with the same problems. And if you don't stop to listen to those problems, then you're only perpetuating them. You're only exacerbating the problem. And that's not good. It's not ideal. And it sure as hell, it seems not just hypocritical, but like such a bitchy thing to do. It's just weird, I got mine, fuck you mentality. And sadly, I could probably figure out which direction it votes. Because of that. And it's like striking serves a purpose. More and more strikes are happening, more and more unions are occurring. There is a lot of momentum, which is great. And the more the better. It will benefit everybody. Even if you're not in a unit, it'll still benefit you, because then your employers will have to start thinking about potentially competitive wages for their employees. Otherwise, they may lose their employees to unions. So even if you're not in a union, unions still benefit you. And this is, I would say, something that a lot of our sort of national propaganda has helped to diminish across, you know, sort of the zeitgeist. Because when I was a kid, any time I ever heard about unions, it was always bad. Every time. Unions were never good. They're stealing your money. All your union dues, when you're paying an extra this amount of money all year because your union dues, well, you know, when you're making 3 or 4 times as much as you were beforehand, who cares? You know? And I mean, it's so much of in a lot of ways, it's very much like the anti-tax crowd. I would not care if my taxes doubled from what they are right now. If that meant that every single person, myself included of course, but every single person was guaranteed with little red tape and bullshit. You know, it's one thing to have a guarantee, it's another thing to have a guarantee that takes you 5 years. But if everybody was guaranteed housing, food, transportation, clean air, safe cities, etc., fuck yeah, I'll double my taxes. I don't give a fuck. And it's like, there's something fundamentally wrong. And I used to hold the position of this idea that hierarchy was natural. There's always a leader and there's always a follower. But I was also pretty fucking ignorant of things too. Yeah, I knew some stuff, but that knowledge was incomplete. And it's still not complete, but it's more fleshed out, it's more well-rounded, it's more understood, I have better angles, I'm learning more and more as I go. And I'm moving on from certain things in life as well. It's like, you know, with this job, it's kind of opened my eyes as to sort of a direction that I might want to go. And I don't know how I'm going to pull it off. I don't even know what I'm going to do. But I am, for all intents and purposes, done with the world of media. Yeah, I like acting, and maybe sometime later in my life I'll go back into it. It's part of a hobby, you know, whatever. I don't know. Maybe if I've got enough money and I can retire, then that's something I could probably maybe do. I don't know. But at 40, and who's to say how many more days or weeks or years I have? I've got to figure out how to make it to where I get what I need. And some would say, well, that's what everybody should do. No, everybody should have at default. Fuck you. I don't care. It's the only reason I'm doing it is because I have to. Because so many of our problems could be resolved. You know, it's like where I work, the CEO makes, if I worked 40 hours a week, the CEO would be making approximately 10 times per year is what I would make. And I think that is the maximum that a CEO should be allowed to make. If they start making more, I should start making more. If I start making more, it's okay if they start making more. I don't care. You know? Now, if they're like, you know what? I think I'll start making more once the gap is only 5 times as much. All right, whatever. Because when you're making 10 times as much as me, you're making roughly, after taxes, close to $250,000 a fucking year. The average person doesn't even make that kind of money in their lifetime, let alone in a year, and let alone anywhere near their retirement age. And it's like, once you have that kind of money, there's so much you can do with it. And yeah, $250,000 is nothing like $250 million, and it's nothing like $250 fucking trillion, which is what we're getting close to with some of these fucks. Not a year, but you know, still. And you know, when you have people, be it in Congress or what have you, who are making per week more money hell, even in a day, than I'm making in a whole fucking month. It's like, how is it these people are the ones who are somehow our representatives, especially the ones who've been doing it for so damn long, and you know, raking in millions upon millions of dollars. I struggle every day with everyday things, let alone being a productive employee as well. Now, it's easier when the job is easier and the pay is better. If we had max 32 hours a week, maximum 4 days a week, maximum 8 hours a day, but we still got paid at least $20 an hour, the average person could thrive in their life. And they wouldn't be the leeches on society that so many people bitch and moan about. They wouldn't need so many of our social services, which could then shrink but not disappear, because sometimes shit happens and you still need those things. You still need those backups. Now, maybe you don't even need those backups. Maybe you take all the money, you take all those services, and you just throw them away and you say, hey, everybody gets a couple grand a month. That's it. You know, and now the people who have them, now the people who need things have the money to get the things they need. UBI, Universal Basic Income. You know, you get it if you go live in Alaska, and they love making sure they get to keep that shit, even though it's a subsidy for oil. But nevertheless, there's the oil companies effectively are subsidizing the people, which is exactly what should be done, and not the other way around. Shouldn't be subsidizing oil companies. And I'm going around in big old loops and shit. But thing is like, there are solutions that are out there that people just don't want to fucking do. And some of it is because they think negatively of somebody else who isn't working hard enough, even though that's not necessarily the issue. There's people out there who think that there is a specific hierarchy and that it needs to stay that way because that's natural. There are people who don't want you even close to their level, and they will do everything they can to keep you from getting there. And then there are others out there who are your temporarily embarrassed billionaires who are like, well, if so-and-so can get rich, I should be able to get rich too. And I don't want to tax that person that much money because then I would have to be taxed that much money. And I don't like that. Even though it's not even happening to them. And that's probably never going to happen to them. But they don't care because they're fucking delusional. There's so many other problems. And some would say, what? You think you're going to live forever? No, that's not the point. It's not about living forever. It's about living better. Make life better. Have fun.